Have you all ever heard of a vegan diet?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was vegan for a while.
It's interesting that you say that you were vegan.
Yeah.
So you were against animal abuse. Then why did you turn your back on the animals? Have you guys seen any footage like that before?
No, we haven't.
Yeah, it is kind of scary, right? The footage is scary.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so on these screens we're showing standard practices from the meat, egg, and dairy industries and other industries that abuse and kill animals, like the free-range, cage-free.
Disgusting, isn't it?
Well, what do you think? It doesn't matter what I think. What do you think?
I'm sure it's disgusting. Yes.
Well, what do you think? Like when you're seeing it, right? The footage. So those are the pigs in farrowing crates. Have you ever heard of veganism?
Yes, I have.
Great. That's what we're all promoting here.
I thoroughly enjoy many vegan dishes. I can't say I don't eat.
Sure. Yeah, and none of us here, as far as I know, were raised vegan.
Yeah.
But it takes, this conviction that you have, right? Like when you see what's happening to these animals, and you say, like, okay, so I know that they feel pain. They may not be human beings, but do I have any reason to think that the value of their whole life should be reduced down to just something that I make into a sandwich or something, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the concept of animal abuse in general? Like, do you think that we should feel bad about like causing unnecessary suffering?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I understand your point of view. In some ways, when you look at the animal world, I've never been to an African safari, and people go just to watch one animal hunt another one to eat, right?
Yeah. When you say absolutely not, you mean you're absolutely not in favor of animal abuse?
Of course.
Okay,
yes, of
that's
course,
good.
Of course.
I wasn't sure because we meet all sorts of people.
No, of course not. But in some ways, I'm thinking, does it justify in terms of, I don't want to put it that way, in the terms of animals, but
Yeah.
It's kind of the survival of the fittest, right?
It is.
I mean, we can definitely survive.
Sure, like in the
without
forest,
meat.
it's survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah,
But like for us, yeah, we have grocery stores, right? So
Yeah,
we can eat plant-based foods. We can choose not to also support like entertainment that uses animals, right? Like rodeos and circuses that abuse animals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would you be willing to look at some more information if I were to give you a card?
I would love to.
Okay, great.
I would love to.
So that contains some documentaries that kind of touch on some different aspects. So with veganism, it is about the animals, so it's about animal ethics.
Yes.
But there are also obviously some considerations if you end up switching to a plant-based diet, such as just different meal ideas and different ways to incorporate different flavors into your diet and that kind of thing.
I mean, for the most part, I haven't for some time, but we do eat vegan for Lent, for the full Lent period. I'm Armenian Orthodox in an Orthodox church during Lent for like that 40 days where a Catholic doesn't eat meat on Fridays. We eat vegan for the full 40 days.
Yeah, it's my hope that you'll see some things in the documentaries that maybe make you think like, this is something that I should take more seriously.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to actually take a stand like for good against it, literally for good.
Thank you for being out here. You guys volunteers and do this for a specific organization?
Yeah, thanks for stopping by and hope you'll watch those documentaries and do the right thing. Have you all seen any footage like that before?
I already got it.
Oh, you got a card? Yeah. What are you thinking about after your conversation? That assuming you had a conversation, what do you think you'll do?
Honestly, not much. Not at the moment, anyway.
What do you think is your reason for not being vegan?
For not being vegan, in particular, there's no good reason to be vegan.
There's no good reason to be vegan?
Not for me, anyway.
Well, do you think that non-human animals are capable of feeling pain and suffering?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that it's a good idea if we can avoid like violating them, to avoid violating them?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason to be vegan. That's the only reason. And that's actually the number one benefit, is that if you say you care about animals and you're not vegan, then you're in a state of hypocrisy. But once you go vegan, you can say that you care about animals and actually mean it. So we just want people to know that if they are still contributing to these industries and not living vegan, then they are animal abusers, unfortunately. I appreciate you guys stopping by.
Thanks for talking to us.
Yeah, thanks. Have you seen any footage like that before? Do you want to talk about it?
My English.
Oh, you're English? Oh, okay.
She English.
Do you want to talk about it?
Okay.
Okay, great. So on these screens, we're showing standard practices from the meat, egg, and dairy industries and the other industries that kill animals for like fashion or for experiments. How do you feel when you see animals like being cut up and being harmed and bleeding? Does that make you feel like that's something that isn't good that's happening? Are you using the card to cover your eye, to cover the screen away?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you vegan?
No.
Yeah. So what we want people to know is that if you're not vegan, then most likely you're paying for this stuff, right? So if you're paying for it, then why would you not be okay to see what you're paying for?
بقول لك انا هذا الشيء نحن جايين ندفع فلوس عشانه. لو انت يعني ما انت قادر تشوفه كيف انت قادر تدفع ولا المفروض انه عادي تشوفه يعني عادي.
ناكله يعني. ليش ناكله يعني؟
ايوه. Actually we don't use this way in Saudi Arabia. Like, like that.
Yeah. But like, no matter how you do it, you wouldn't want somebody to do it to somebody you love, right? You would want somebody you love to be protected and safe and happy. So that's what we want for all of these animals. Maybe they're not human, they don't look like us, right? We can't talk to them, but they still suffer, they still feel pain, they still want to live, they don't want to die. So that's what we're encouraging people to do, is to respect that they want to be left alone and to be vegan. So to live a life where we consume a fully vegetarian diet, so fruits, veggies, beans, nuts, and seeds, no dairy, no honey, no milk, no eggs.
Yes.
كله عشان الحيوانات.
عشان طوالي. الحيوان.
So you only eat kind of what comes out of the ground.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the best.
I know. It's healthy.
It's healthy and it's more peaceful.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hello. Have you ever seen any footage like that before?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I watch a lot of documentaries.
Oh, okay, cool. How do you feel when you see it?
It's really sad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's crazy that happens.
Yeah. Do you want to come around more and see what's happening on the different screens? Great. So, yeah, so there they're showing like the chickens that are unable to stand. The way that chickens get bred for meat nowadays, the chicken breed is so big that they're unable to stand basically when they reach their full weight oftentimes. Have you all ever heard of a vegan diet?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was vegan for a while.
It's interesting that you say that you were vegan.
Yeah.
So you were against animal abuse. Then why did you turn your back on the animals?
I honestly, it was like hard for me to like keep a healthy diet while I was being vegan. Like I lost a lot of weight that I didn't mean to and stuff. So
Maybe you weren't eating enough?
yeah, I didn't do it right. I'm sure if I did it right, it would be like I'd be able to do it again. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is one of the largest health and nutrition organizations in the world, if not the largest, has said that a well-planned plant-based diet is appropriate for all stages of life. So that includes like infancy to even like pregnancy and even athletic activities. Yeah. Do you think that what you see here, like, is it something that inside of you, does it stir some kind of a hatred for what you see there?
Yeah.
Like, do you wish you could live in a world where like beings could just not have their lives prematurely ended, or to not be confined and exploited or just treated like a commodity?
Definitely.
Yeah. And do you think the way that we treat non-human animals also affects how we view and treat other humans? Yeah. Because especially like with people who we know eat animals, between those people who eat animals, there's this understanding, I think,
Yeah.
that like both of those people know what they're doing to the animals, but there's some kind of a weird like understanding that it's not going to be something that a human's going to do to another human. But we don't really have a good reason why we should consider humans morally so much more valuable. I'm not saying humans aren't more valuable, but
Right.
so much more valuable that it's okay to just do this to them, do them like
Is
this.
that how did they kill the cow there in that shot?
So that's showing a bolt gun.
Yeah, I learned
So the-
about it in one of my classes.
Oh,
They did,
okay.
like a whole unit about it.
I see. Do you think it's like,
It is very sad. And
It's
a lot of
sad.
It's not the first shot either. Like in that one, it was.
yeah, But even if it was the first shot, and I would say even if those cows were all sleeping and they just got a little injection and went to sleep, it's still not right, exactly. Because what I think is that we should extend rights that we recognize in other humans, whether or not rights objectively exist outside of us, like outside of our subjective experience. That's a deep conversation. But I have the belief that it's good to believe like rights exist, right? And if rights do in fact exist, then, or rather, I just don't see any reason why we should act like they don't have any rights that we recognize in each other.
Yeah. It's really sad.
Do you think that in the way that they feel pain, they're any different than us? Like in terms of if somebody goes and pinches their skin, there's somebody there who feels pain, right?
Yeah.
What do you say to people who would say like, well, trees, when you cut down a tree, like a tree feels pain?
I mean, I do think it's sad when you cut down a tree.
I think so too.
But
It's
they
still a living
don't
thing.
have.
It's not. They're not as
same.
alive as like a cow.
Yeah.
Well, I would say they're just as alive as a cow actually, but I would say that plants aren't sentient.
Yeah.
So I would say they don't respond to stimuli in a way that like they would move away from stimuli or something like that. Sure, a plant will like turn toward the sun or something like that, but like there's nobody inside having a subjective experience. And do you know the greatest benefit of when you go vegan? So do you know? Okay, so for the animals, obviously they're not being killed by you anymore. So there's a benefit there, right? Is that harm that would have been your contribution to that isn't taking place anymore. But then the greatest benefit for you is that you can call yourself an animal lover and not be a hypocrite. 'Cause what do people mean when they say they're animal lovers?
Usually they're talking about their pets or something.
Yeah, their pets, dogs, cats, birds, maybe some birds. So would you be willing to look up some more information if I gave you a card?
Sure, yeah.
So hopefully this will get you kind of like inspired again to go down that road.
I've seen this too, yeah.
Okay, great. I'd really recommend also the best speech you'll ever hear. It's by an activist named Gary Yourofsky. He's retired from activism since, but it's a really powerful speech in terms of driving home why it's so important that we end this and why it is actually such a moral emergency.
All right, thank you so
Yeah, I appreciate
much.
you guys stopping. Have a good day. Thank you. Hi. Would you like some more info on what we're doing here? Oh, okay.
I understand it. It upsets me.
Yeah. Yeah, it upsets us too. That's why we're here. We'd much rather be doing other stuff with our Saturday afternoons than playing animal cruelty on TVs, but we're trying to change the world here.
Like one person at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, how you going? Good. Have you ever seen any footage like that before?
No, actually,
Yeah.
I was just talking about to Jason about.
Oh, yeah?
That's amazing, man.
Amazing? How so?
It makes you now think, because you never think when I got a cheeseburger in my hand how that animal got slaughtered. So
Right,
awareness is pretty
Awareness.
much key, man.
Yeah. Because without awareness, we can't really make free choices, right?
I guess that's
Yeah.
actually a method of killing the cows or the chickens.
Yeah.
Man,
Well, the interesting thing is, people when they go vegetarian, what they're actually doing by buying dairy and eggs, for example, is supporting the industry that's breeding the cows into existence, milking them until they collapse, and then they get slaughtered. So when you think about it, when you if let's say you raise a cow to slaughter and eat them, that's evil. I'm not denying that. But think about you raise a cow to slaughter and eat them, but then
all the benefits.
yeah,
of it until
yeah,
you pass that.
exactly, yeah. And it's what's even more messed up when you think about it is that a cow can normally live 20 to 25 years, but in these industries they become so tired, so spent afterwards. So that's the mom going after her baby there. They don't really live longer than like 5-6 years in these industries because after they collapse, the dairy industry doesn't have any reason to keep them alive anymore.
Make some cheeseburgers out of it.
Exactly.
That is amazing. I never knew that. I thought they bred them. But I don't think there's no easy way to kill an animal and assume that he's not feeling that pain of what they're doing to him. Because they got a lot of different methods, I noticed. Somebody's using an air gun. Another one was hitting them in the head with a hammer. That's crazy.
Yeah, and whichever way that they're killed, ultimately, what I like to think of it like is, if I wouldn't want it to happen to me, then why would I pay for it to happen to somebody else, right? Because think about it, the person who's eating meat, they might not have been the person to kill that animal, but if you pay for it, you are still contributing, yeah. So part of that killing is
looks like it hurts.
on that person.
It looks like it's fucking hurting it. Kind
Oh.
of get a thing pushed in his brain.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. In the way, like, if you poke one of them in their skin, or if you poke one of us in our skin, what reason do we have to believe that the pain that they experience is any different than what we would physically experience, right?
That's amazing. Oh, I don't like looking at that. Let me get up out of here, but it's good
Okay,
to be
yeah.
aware.
And you
Thank
got a card,
I
right?
got the card.
Okay, awesome.
Have a good one.
Yeah, take care. Have you seen any footage like that before?
Slowly. I don't understand very well.
Oh, okay. So,
I share the feeling. I share the feeling.
yeah, with those animals,
I love animals. I share the feeling.
do you
But
eat them?
I eat meat.
You eat that? You eat animals?
Eh?
You eat animals?
If I have animals,
Do you eat animals?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Do you think that you can love them if you also eat them?
it's rare for us.
It doesn't make sense, right?
No.
Yeah.
It isn't correct.
Well, it's never too late to change,
Yes,
right?
never.
Yeah. And ultimately what it comes down to is that even if they're not intelligent, if they're not able to talk to us or tell us that they don't want what is happening to happen, we do have every good reason to believe that they feel pain, right? Science
Yes.
has pretty much told us they feel pain. And
Afraid,
fear, yeah,
fear.
love,
Yes.
right? So why would we want to like pay for beings who feel love to be stabbed in the throat and to bleed out and die, right? Like, it seems like something that we should think like this is cruel, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And would you like to see maybe what's on the screen over here too? So every screen is showing something a little bit different. So this is so that was showing the pigs in the farrowing crates. So here we have, these are chicks this is like a free range thing. So you know when people say like, oh, I eat free range chickens, it's okay. Well, that's the free range chickens right there.
They can walk.
Yeah, they're having heart attacks, they're collapsed on the floor, and oftentimes their beaks also get seared off, like the tips of their beaks, because they go crazy when they're in these sheds.
Yeah.
So the industry does that to try to keep them from hurting each other. But all of these things that we're doing to them, in every case, they have not consented, right? They didn't give permission for any of those things to happen. So that's what it really boils down to, is that if we respect what they would want to either be free, right, to be with their families, to be safe, to be happy, or what's the thing that we can do that then won't even have this be a problem? We just don't breed them, right? We don't bring them into the world. Because we're not doing them any favors, right? It's not doing their species any favor to keep going like this, because they just get more and more like that, unable to stand, just fatter, because people are breeding them for a lot of meat production on their bodies. Do you think that there's an ethical way to do this? Like, is there a way to kill an animal humanely if they don't want to die?
But perhaps this began with the Bible, when God said, all over the earth is for yours, and we believe that everything is for us. Earth, trees, animals, it's wrong.
Okay, but like, even if all of those are for us, maybe for us just means like, you know, your TV is for you, right? You have a TV, it's for you.
Yes.
But you don't go and smash and eat your TV, right? Same thing, you don't want to smash and eat a cow in a hamburger, right? If it's for you, like, just enjoy them, respect them.
It's very sad. It's very sad. I know that I can begin not to eat meat
And also eggs and dairy,
chicken,
those other things.
everything.
Sure, because
Well,
Also-
I eat lots of green
Vegetables?
Vegetables.
green juice, good.
Yes.
Yeah, so like, yeah, there's a lot of resources that can help you with how to go onto a plant-based diet. I'll give you a card with some more information, and hopefully some of these documentaries can help you.
Okay. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
and ultimately what it comes down to is if you take what's happening to these animals really seriously, if you look at it and you say, wow, I just really hate this because it's so unfair. Even think about when you were a child, like, did you ever love an animal? Is there ever an animal who you really loved?
cheese, I can eat cheese.
Cheese, you can eat vegan cheese.
No.
Yes, you can eat, because when you eat cheese that comes from the milk of these animals, it's stolen, right? We don't have a right to steal from them.
Yes.
Because
yes.
who does the cow make her milk for? Why does she make
No,
milk?
I know the story about the milk and the cow's industries.
Yeah. So, but who is she making the milk for? The baby, right? Yeah.
Is that for the babies too?
It's bad for everybody. It's bad for the planet. It's bad for the humans eating it. And most importantly, it's bad for the animals because they don't have any choice in it, right? We can choose not to eat this. We can choose not to participate, but they're stuck in that system and they're not able to speak. They can't release themselves from that, right? So who's going to do it? It's only the people who actually fight for it.
This is a shot. What is this? How they kill the animals?
So what happens is that, with cows, oftentimes they try to stun them by using what's called a bolt gun. So they put like a metal bolt into their forehead, and the animal becomes just very distraught and kind of unable to fight back, basically.
It's a ball, a metal ball.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if something actually goes into the skull. I don't really like learning about it, but they kill them, right? That's the important thing that we know. So if we don't want them to be killing those animals, we not only need to not eat meat, but we need to not eat cheese either. Because what happens to the cows, right? Like they're being used for their milk. That's wrong. But then what else happens to them is at the end, they don't get to retire. They don't get to go to Florida and retire. They get killed at the end of the day.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much. And we just want people to know. Well, I would say that, would you say with anything else that you'll try? Like if this was a demonstration for some other type of justice, would you say, yeah, I know, I've been doing something really wrong, but I'll try to do better? Or would you say, no, this is wrong, and I'm only on this earth for so many days, so for the rest of my days, I'm done with this, I'm not supporting it. What are you going to do?
I think that it isn't easy, but I have it in my mind.
Yeah, the seed is planted.
Something slowly, perhaps.
Yeah.
Slowly. I don't believe in change, shock change. No, I believe in change slowly. No? But I have conscience about it.
Yeah, it seems like you care about it. Yeah. So I'll just leave you with this. Just for as long as you take to go vegan, as long as you're trying and slowly transitioning, you are still going to be one of the reasons that these animals are having this happen to them. All right, my man. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Take care. Hey, how's it going? Would you like some more info on what we're showing? So on these screens, we're showing standard practices from the meat, egg, and dairy industries, as well as other industries that abuse and kill animals. How do you feel when you see this kind of footage?
I already know this happens.
Sorry?
I already know this happens. I'm a truck driver.
Oh, you already know this happens? Yeah. Do you think that...
Cows, when they pull up to the slaughterhouse, they go crazy. They know where they're at.
Do you drive cows to slaughterhouses?
I used to.
You used to?
They go fucking crazy. The chickens and the truck, some of them are dead, going to the poultry. Yeah, I know all this.
Yeah. Do you think that if it's possible to live in a way where we're not kind of subjecting other beings to these things, like we're not killing them and exploiting them and enslaving them?
It's going to happen.
But if it could, do you think that it would be better than the world that we have now?
Yeah, it could, but it's never going to. It's food. You know, we're at the hierarchy of the food chain.
But the food chain, isn't that just a socially made up thing? Like, you know, biologically speaking, are we really at the top of the food chain if we didn't have like anything to protect or defend ourselves with? Probably not, right? There's sharks, cheetahs, jaguars, bears, hippos.
We don't live in an ocean or stuff like that.
Sure, right.
But
the food chain is still something that humans made it up, right?
Yeah, the caveman days, yeah.
Well, again, like, so there's this idea of like necessity, I guess, right? In a food chain, like those animals are eating out of necessity, right? Like if they don't eat, they're gonna starve out in a forest, or someone is gonna eat them. But nowadays we have like grocery stores. We can just go and buy plants, and like we have other forms of entertainment. We don't live in a society where everybody gathers around and like has to watch animals die and suffer, like in rodeos or horse racing or other things, right? Like we can choose entertainment that's cruelty free. We can choose to eat in a way that doesn't cause animals to at least be treated like nothing, right? Like an object, like property.
See, that's cruelty there, you know? But they should find a better way to do it.
But the thing is that, like, if you don't think that it's okay, I guess, do you think it's okay what they're doing to those animals? Do you just think they need to find a better way to do it? Because see, some people look at this and they say, wow, that's wrong. I need to find a way to stop this. And some people look at this and say, wow, I need to find a way to make an excuse for why I can still keep participating in this. So which kind of person do you want to be?
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, I appreciate your listening. I'd like to give you a card with some more information. This is Anonymous for the Voiceless. This has some different documentaries on it. Most of them are free on YouTube, or some of them are rather, but some are on Netflix as well. And
you're a vegan.
yeah, we're all vegan. And it's really just a matter of deciding that this is an injustice and then deciding that you don't want to participate in it anymore.
Yeah. Like pork, I don't eat pork. Pork is very dangerous for me to eat. You know, I eat chicken and fish. But yeah, people stop eating animals. That's just never going to happen. Not in this life.
Well, I think that there might not ever be a time when everybody stops eating animals all over the world, right? That's a pretty tall order. But we can at least get to a society where it's viewed as socially unacceptable, right? We can come to a world where people don't approve of other people being animal murderers, basically, right? Because there would be riots if people were doing this to humans, right, in this country. If people in this country were building these giant facilities that are designed to systematically kill humans, there'd be an outrage, right? Everything would be broken. But since this is happening to beings that none of us have language in common with, or who we deem as less intelligent, or who we've been taught from a young age to be able to oppress in these ways without any regard for what they might want, we just do it. Like humans just do it. We humans just do it. But if you decide that this is something that you hate, that you're against this, that you really don't like injustice, then you can decide to be vegan. And then you can say that you're an animal lover, and you can really mean it. You can really walk the walk.
So you're really a vegan. You don't even drink milk?
So all of us here who are wearing black and have the masks,
Yeah.
we're all vegan, yeah. So we don't consume any animal products.
Wow, that's a tall order.
But it doesn't take any discipline. That's the thing. You could ask most anyone here, and I bet they would tell you that it doesn't take them any discipline to stay vegan. Because once you make that decision, once you understand the ethical imperative, then you could be drunk, you could be like, you know, in any kind of state of mind, and you would never think about contributing to that again. So it's just a matter of, again, like what side of history you want to stand on, right? Because like, I think eventually this injustice will end, because all injustices do eventually end. So the way history is going to look back on us, I think is going to be very harsh. I think that we're going to be defined by future generations with regard to where we stood on this issue with our non-human animal brethren and brothers and sisters.
You should see how they do it over there in China. It's bad over there.
Yeah, I don't guess that it's much better, but
They eat a lot of cats and dogs, and when they skin the cat, it goes into the boiling pot of oil alive, and it comes out. Sometimes it comes out still alive.
I'm sure that kind of
That's
stuff
how
happens.
They take off the hair. They dip it in hot oil.
Do you think, are you against that?
Oh, yeah.
Think it's horrible? Yeah. And I guess from a vegan's perspective, the way that I would look at that is like, yeah, that's horrible what you described, but I would say that the other uses of animals are horrible too, because they're equally unnecessary. So no matter how nicely it's done, like I still consider it to be a violation of that animal's interests, and it's harming their bodies, right? It's violating their bodily integrity. So what we really want, we don't want people necessarily to have sympathy toward what's happening.
This is really.
We want people. I'm sorry.
The cattle actually know.
They're very intelligent.
Yeah, very intelligent.
But again, like, it doesn't really, we're not trying to get people to think about like, oh, these animals are so intelligent, we should feel so bad for them or that kind of thing. Really what we're trying to get people to understand is that these animals are sentient, right? They have a subjective experience. There's somebody inside, and we shouldn't do this to them if it's not necessary to do it to them, right? It's not a matter of like sympathy. It's more like, hey, that doesn't make sense and it's so wrong. It's an injustice and we should hate this. We should actually have hatred for it, right? Hatred has a place. Like, we should hate injustice.
What's he shooting him with?
So that's a bolt gun. Somebody else was asking about that too. And that doesn't actually kill them. I think that's designed to be more of an incapacitating device. Something like that. So we just want people to know that for as long as they are contributing to this and kind of toying with the idea of going vegan, they are unfortunately still part of the participants, part of the reason that this animal abuse is happening. And when you think about it, they're just like children, right? They're innocent, they're vulnerable, they're defenseless against us, and they can't free themselves from this oppression. It's only going to take people like you and I, people who are willing to use their voices on their behalf. What do you think you'll do? What would be stopping you from?
They don't show it all for the cows. I guess it's too immoral, huh?
I guess we're trying to show a little bit of kind of every different, or many different industries. But what would be stopping you from walking away from here and deciding to be vegan?
Discipline.
You think so?
Oh yeah. It takes will to stop eating meat after you've been eating it.
It does take will. It does take, you have to will it yourself, right? I couldn't force you to do it.
If I was to do it, the closest I'd come to being vegan is, not eating meat, but I'd still drink milk, and I would still eat eggs.
Well, you know what? I said the same thing before I was vegetarian, and when I was vegan, I said that I would never go vegan too. So you never know, right? Every day we have a chance to live a new life.
What's with the mask?
So the mask is just to take the attention off the individual. Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys.
Well, I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, take care. Hey, how you doing? Have you seen any footage like that before? Yeah. What do you think about it?
Somehow it's like really devastating to see
Devastating?
like what animals are going through these days, especially when I see images like these. And I know for some people, like for me instance, I know a few of my
Sorry, would you mind moving over here just a little bit? Just there's people talking there. I just couldn't hear you a little bit.
my buddies that usually gone vegan and also.
Oh yeah, you have friends who've gone vegan? Cool.
Yeah.
How long have they been vegan for?
Oh man, I think in about 3 months at least now.
Oh, 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay, solid streak. Yeah, and the amazing thing is that being vegan, actually, once you make what's called the connection, once you flip that switch and you realize that these are our family members and that you really actually hate what's happening to these animals because it's an injustice, then it doesn't take any discipline whatsoever. That's the thing, that when it flips in your mind, you don't have to keep defending this practice anymore because you stop participating in it. And the amazing thing is that it actually does usually benefit your health, and it does usually benefit the planet, and it does usually benefit your relationships with other humans too. But the best benefit is that you no longer have to be the reason that these animals are being subjected to suffering and torture. Yeah, and then you can say that you love animals and really mean it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's really hard to see.
Yeah.
These animals respond to work. Yeah. Even for me, I have a few cats of my own. And I always like treat them like with love and all. I just kind of like them to experience something like this.
Yeah. And all these beings are capable of experiencing love, right? So like, it's really, when you think about it, if we can instead, like just as far as diet goes, if we could eat plants versus if we could eat a being who has to be stabbed in the throat to bleed out and experience immense suffering, even if it's just for 15 seconds or even if it's just for 90 seconds, why would we do that when we can just choose to consume plants instead? Right? It's actually, you know what, it's deceptively simple. It's actually so simple that people think that there's some trick, like there's got to be some catch, like some trick up the sleeve of veganism. But really, like, look at that, right? I can say that for almost 9 years, I haven't contributed to somebody having to pull out a knife and slit a cow in the throat. I haven't had any part in that for 9 years. So like, that's so amazing to be able to wash your hands from that blood and just say like, not in my name anymore. So what would be stopping you, now that you've seen this, you've made this awareness kind of connection, what would be stopping you from saying, all right, that's it, I'm vegan?
Yeah, it's always for me, it seems like every some image like this is usually what puts a stop through all people like you said, like for this, now I going into the vegan state now if you want to become one, you know. So yeah, it's obviously it's what makes like everyone's putting me, for instance, yeah. It's not even like hating some stuff like this for it to see, but yeah, it's, and I know like for once I've seen videos like this, it's kind of like with the splitting the throat and all, and everything, you know.
It's animal abuse, right? Yeah. And do you want to keep contributing to that, or do you want to be vegan?
Yeah.
You want to be vegan?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I've seen the kind of
congratulations.
Yeah, because I was like for some like I've seen my I know with my friends and all, they obviously like are they like with this I always tell them to see something like this and all. It's just it's pretty nice.
Yeah, when you see it. And I would encourage you rather, when you talk to people about it, as a vegan, as a new vegan, tell them, why don't you watch this footage and then talk to me about it, right? Because it's so easy to talk about, oh, bacon, hot dogs, and stuff like that. But if you would look at yourself in the mirror and look yourself in the eyes, could you really say, I'm okay with causing harm to animals when I don't need to? It's like, it's immoral. So I'd like to give you a card that will help you on your way. This has some more information. I'd recommend, even though you've decided to go vegan, I still recommend watching that one, The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear. That'll help cement your decision in terms of the real moral emergency that these animals are facing, that we're all facing, by virtue of this animal abuse. And then I'd also recommend just checking out the other ones like What the Health, Game Changers. That'll just kind of get you in the spirit of having a healthy plant-based diet, and hopefully you'll also join us or speak up for animals any way that you can. Any way that you can help liberate animals is great.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. Well, again, appreciate it.
Thank
you. Take care. Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Have you seen any footage like this before?
No.
Yeah.
Not in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah. What do you think about it?
It's great.
It's great.
I didn't know it was. It's about animals. It's animal cruelty.
Animal cruelty. Yeah. But do you think that what you see on the screens is great? Do you approve of that?
No.
No?
No.
Yeah. What do you think that somebody who doesn't approve of that could do to live in a way that acts like they don't approve of it? How could somebody live in such a way that doesn't support that if they're against it?
Well, I suppose it's because you don't see it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm here for
And you're not the animal.
Sorry?
You're not the animal. You can't.
Yeah. We don't. We are willing. Like humans will oppress them without a second thought, right? Without even looking back at it.
Yeah. And you eat the meat.
Yeah, I don't eat it, but some people do.
I do, but I don't think about.
Yeah, it's not something that comes to.
Yeah. Do you think that if you had to see every animal that you eat being killed, or if you had to kill them yourselves, do you think that would impact your dietary habits? Yeah.
Maybe. Ask her. She's a foodie blogger.
I don't eat pork, and I don't eat shrimp, and I don't eat those.
So have you ever heard of speciesism?
A what?
Speciesism?
Nope.
So speciesism is discrimination on the grounds of species. So for example, if somebody leaves a dog in a hot car, people are allowed to break the windows of that car and rescue that dog, right? Or if somebody's beating a dog, that person can actually go to jail or something. They can get punished pretty badly, right? But if somebody decides to stab a cow or a pig or a chicken in the throat, they can get an award for like the best meat producer of the year or something like that, right? So that's a double standard, right? Because the only thing if somebody was to say which one goes where, it's which species species group they're a member of. Do you think that's fair? Nope. Yeah, and think about this. What if you were to design the world? What if you were coming into the world and you had an equal chance of being born as any animal that exists right now? So there's like millions of chickens, millions of other animals, right? And billions of humans, sure, but there's a lot more of those animals, right? So if you didn't know who you would end up as, you had a small chance of ending up as a human, what kind of a society would you want? Would you want the world to be vegan if you didn't know what animal you were going to be born as? Yeah. So now you understand how privileged you are as a human to not have that happen to you, right? So what's the least that you can do you think? To be vegan, right? To not contribute to that. And then hopefully start speaking up. Because those animals are innocent, right? They're just like, they are children, right? They're children of different mothers, of different species. They're defenseless, right? They can't protect themselves from humans, and they're vulnerable and they're innocent. So like, vegans are kind of like adults, or like somebody who wakes you up, right? When somebody wakes you up, you get mad at them at first. But then you realize, wait, I'm not mad at this person. I'm actually mad at what's happening there. And I shouldn't be mad at the messenger for telling me about that. Because if you're not aware, you can't be making a free choice, right? You can only have a free choice when you're aware. So I'd like to give you guys some more information.
No more chicken.
So if you guys are all together, I'd encourage you to watch those documentaries. And I'd also encourage you to watch a documentary called Earthlings, if that's not on there. I don't know what that is. Yeah, Earthlings isn't on there. I'd recommend watching Earthlings as well. And that also talks about speciesism, which is what I mentioned about discriminating on the basis of species membership, because it's just arbitrary. Like, there's nothing morally relevant about these animals that if we put that onto a human, everything else held constant, that would make it okay. Like, we say, oh, they're not intelligent. Okay, then are we okay with killing humans who aren't intelligent? If we say,
It's the same thing with animal testing too.
yeah, we're against all that. Yeah, well, thank you guys for stopping by, and
Thank you for that.
yeah, and hope you guys will decide to stand on the right side of history when it comes to this injustice. All right. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you guys.